Nike struck absolute gold when they signed Caitlin Clark to an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal. So why in the world are they ignoring her? At the start of this year's WNBA season, it was announced that Caitlin Clark signed a massive endorsement deal with Nike. This deal was for 8 years, $28 million with a signature sneaker included. We have not seen any commercials, we have not seen any ads, we have not seen any Caitlin Clark merchandise, and we for sure as hell have not seen any Caitlin Clark signature shoes.
Remember when women's basketball was struggling to fill high school gyms? Now picture this. Caitlin Clark steps onto the court and boom, sold-out arenas, record-breaking TV numbers, and merch flying off the shelves. It's like night and day, right? But here's the million-dollar question. Why is Nike, the king of sports gear, acting like they're asleep at the wheel? Caitlin just lit them up at their own event, talking about the massive growth in women's basketball. Are they missing the biggest opportunity in sports right now? Let's break down what's really going on behind the scenes. Imagine this. The entire arena erupts when Caitlin Clark takes the court. Her name is being yelled by fans as they stand up. It resembles a rock concert, except she's playing a basketball in place of a guitar. What's so important? Let me tell you though. On the court, Clark has been dominating. You will be astounded by the record-breaking points we are discussing. Not only does she score points, but she also grabs rebounds like it's no big deal and dishes out assists that will leave you speechless.
Nike is obviously the biggest brand in athletic apparel, and Caitlin seemed to be a perfect fit for the brand. $28 million at the time, while some people, including myself, were saying that this might be a little bit too low. We also got to see the other offers that were on the table for Caitlin Clark, and as you can see, Under Armour offered her 4 years for $16 million, which by a year-by-year basis, she would actually be making more per year if she had signed with Under Armour, and I feel like looking back in retrospect, that might have been the perfect place for Caitlin, because I feel like Under Armour for sure wouldn't have ignored her this entire season.
While everyone else is playing checkers, she seems to be playing chess. This is where things get crazy though. In addition to being a talented player, Clark is transforming the perception of women's basketball. It used to be the underdog, fighting for attention. Right now, the main event is this. People who never paid much attention to women's basketball are now fixated on their screens as they watch Clark perform. Do you know what fans are up to these days? They're arriving in large numbers. Previously half-empty arenas are now crammed with people. Only when Clark is performing is there standing room. Tickets are being sold out like they're the NBA Finals or something. It's crazy. It's not limited to in-person attendance either. Women's basketball TV ratings? They are extremely high. Viewers can't get enough of the games, so networks are rushing to get more on the air. Everything Clark touches turns to gold, as if she has some sort of Midas touch. The worst part is that Nike has been sitting on their hands while all of this excitement is going on. Is it not unbelievable?
Nike put up this huge billboard that's basically like, if you break it, you own it. And this was in Iowa. They had other ads and things that came out, but since then it has been crickets. The thing that is the most surprising about this is, if you guys remember, when Caitlin Clark was playing at Iowa, Nike ran ads about her. When she broke the record for the most points in NCAA scoring history for both the men and the women, I personally don't understand how a brand like Nike, who has had athletes like Serena Williams, like LeBron James, like Michael Jordan, who branched off and made his own brand in itself. However, I will say that Caitlin Clark has created more buzz around the basketball landscape and has actually transformed and revived a league that was the WNBA.
The largest brand in athletic apparel is behaving as though they are blind to what is happening in front of them. They appear to be dozing off while Clark is advancing the entire sport. How much more people have watched women's basketball as a result of Caitlin Clark? The typical numbers are being doubled, tripled, and occasionally even quadrupled. Previously attracting only a few thousand viewers, these games now attract millions. It's a whole new level of popularity, not just a spike. Something goes wrong just when women's basketball is getting into its groove. Millions of new people are watching the game because of Clark, but her own sponsor, Nike, is not present. Why are fans becoming so irritated? And what's the matter with this radio silence? Consider it. The hottest name in basketball right now, Caitlin Clark, is signed by Nike. Isn't it big news? They should be yelling it from rooftops, putting her face on billboards, and stuffing stores full of her merchandise. But you know what? After the initial announcement, it seems as though they hit the mute button. Clark, meanwhile, is out there smashing records as if they were becoming obsolete. As if gravity didn't exist, she's grabbing rebounds, dishing out assists like a magician, and lighting up scoreboards. Nike too? As silent as a church mouse, they are. They appear to be watching another sport or something. What's crazy, do you? Other brands are waking up while Nike is slumbering on their golden goose.
Sabrina Ionescu has a shoe with Nike, and it is very similar to like a Kobe or a Kyrie shoe. It's actually honestly like it feels like it's a Kyrie shoe. I believe that Caitlin Clark, if they would have released a signature shoe for her this season, they would have made a killing. And there are a lot of men who wear the Sabrinas as well. That is an example where you don't need to take all of this time in developing the greatest first shoe for a player.
Clark is receiving more love from Adidas than from her own sponsor. They are promoting her on social media, showcasing her in advertisements, and generally treating her like the famous person she is. It's similar to seeing your prom crush dance with someone else. What about the fans? They're not happy, boy. The same questions are being asked repeatedly on social media. Where is the Caitlin Clark merchandise? What happened to her signature shoe? Nike seems to have their fingers in their ears as they shout into thin air. Nike finally wakes up after all of this pressure and releases a t-shirt. An individual t-shirt, that's all. What a lackluster performance. It's similar to responding to a 5-alarm fire with a water pistol. Instead of the feast that fans were expecting, they were given a cracker. The worst part is that more and more players are getting their own signature shoes. But the most popular name in basketball, the one that's drawing record numbers of viewers, she is still waiting. It seems like Nike is having trouble deciding what their top priorities are. Caitlin Clark has been developing a strategy while Nike has been snoozing on their fantastic opportunity. She didn't just show up at a recent Nike event, she made an impression. What surprising action did Clark take that made the executives at Nike cringe? Imagine this, Caitlin Clark at a major Nike event, taking center stage. Everyone is watching her in the crowded room. The tension in the air is palpable. What will she say? Is she going to cause trouble, or is she just here to be nice? Clark gets off to a great start by discussing how women's basketball has taken off. She is presenting the facts without boasting. She is a major factor in why the game has never been more popular. However, she suddenly drops a bombshell. She essentially tells those Nike executives that they aren't doing enough by looking them in the eye. Imagine the courage that requires, and she's not holding back. Clark is discussing how fans are in dire need of anything from shoes to merchandise to jerseys. She's not merely making hints either. She is making it very apparent to Nike. She seems to be saying, "Hey, get up! You're not even excavating the gold mine that's right here." There is a complete silence in the room. A pin could be heard dropping. Those executives at Nike, they're likely wishing they could vanish as they wriggle around in their seats. Clark isn't finished, though. She has only just begun. She presents this vision for women's basketball's future, and it's obvious that Nike needs to improve, hugely. More support, more visibility, more everything is what she's talking about. And how does she say it? She seems to be challenging Nike to disprove her. What precisely is it that Caitlin Clark said that has everyone talking? The elephant in the room was pointed out by her directly. She continued, "The amount of people that have showed up in the stadiums, from the viewership numbers to people really wanting to wear a WNBA player's jersey or buy their merch or whatever it is or have their shoe, shows everyone there is real opportunity here." She didn't stop there, though. Clark emphasized the significance of raising awareness of women's basketball. She continued, "The more we can continue to expand that and continue to have games on national television and get people in seats, they fall in love with a team or a player." She seems to be offering Nike a roadmap for success and pressing them to follow it. There is more to Clark's challenge to Nike than just TV time and crowded stadiums. They are directly in the middle of a larger play. However, it appears that Nike is dragging theirs. What is the one thing that women's basketball merchandise is lacking that could make a big difference? The topic of discussion should be Caitlin Clark's missing signature shoe. Fans have been practically yelling at their screens, pleading for it. Mock-ups and designs are exploding on social media. Individuals are using their imaginations to imagine what Clark's shoe might look like. However, from Nike, crickets. While the rest of the world is having a Clark party, they seem to be stuck in the sand. Know what's crazy? A Caitlin Clark shoe might be a treasure trove. Here, we're talking about more than just strong sales. We're talking about potentially historic, record-breaking numbers. Consider this. Clark is extremely well-liked. She is a phenomenon, not just a basketball player. People want a signature shoe and a piece of that magic. It's like putting a lid on lightning. Right now, other brands are most likely kicking themselves. Wearing Nike, they watch as Clark dominates the court, draws large crowds, and transforms the game. Nike, though? Not even bothering to dig, they are sitting on a gold mine. It appears as though they are using their winning lottery ticket as a bookmark. You're going to be amazed by this. Some fans are taking matters into their own hands because they are so irritated by the dearth of Clark merchandise. They're producing Clark bootleg gear. Is it not unbelievable? People are actually making their own merchandise because they are so desperate to show their support. That's a movement, not just fandom. This is causing industry experts to scratch their heads. Despite the demand and the numbers, they are unable to determine why Nike is taking so long. Nike is still debating whether to jump, but it's like watching a slam dunk in slow motion. What is the situation with the signature shoe of Caitlin Clark? Why is Nike taking so long to release Clark merchandise? The process of creating a signature shoe is not simple. Usually it takes months, but occasionally it takes a year. The entire process includes designing, testing, and marketing. However, given the excitement surrounding Clark, you would think that Nike would be moving quickly on this project as if it were their last. Okay, let's finish this. Caitlin Clark is transforming the game off the court in addition to dominating on it. The business community is watching her closely, wondering what she will do next. Nike, too, they are currently under scrutiny. Will they keep putting things off, or will they pick up the pace and match Clark's energy? Whether Nike is prepared or not, there is no doubt that Caitlin Clark is the basketball player of the future. She's breaking records, drawing large crowds, and pushing for greater support for women's sports. And you know what? She has only just begun. If current trends continue, we may be witnessing the most significant upheaval in basketball history. People, get ready. The Caitlin Clark Show is only getting started.